What's up, traders, and welcome to a Traders Foundation Group market analysis video. Now, in today's video, we are going to be mainly looking at gold as well as dollar, just to make sure we are prepared for the upcoming sessions and, of course, this upcoming CPI, which is tomorrow. So, because we haven't done one of these market analysis videos in just over like 2-3 weeks, just because I was taking a small break from social media, kind of focusing more on my community, making sure everybody's good there, and focusing on my trading as well. Now I feel it's a good time to bring these market analysis videos back. And of course, because we just had some recent events coming into the market, I figured, it would be perfect timing to go ahead and explain some of these events, and also point out some opportunities that could come within the next couple of sessions. So before we get into the whole fundamental review or anything like that, let's go ahead and mark up some analysis. Let's do some technical analysis here. Mark up some zones and make sure that we have the proper zones listed. So we can see here we do have this previous area of support, which now this daily candle, the previous daily candle has closed below. So that's going to be important for us to take note of that. We'll also mark off this support, which is it's pretty far at the moment, but it'll be a good target to have overall if we do remain in this area here. So let's dive deeper into the 4-hour. We can see we also have this support here on this 4-hour, which I'm going to mark off. We do have a resistance on this 4-hour as well. And I'm going to take a look at this zone just around here, see how I can refine that on the 1-hour, because on the 4-hour, this zone does make sense. As you can see here, previous reactions, previous support and bounces off of this area, right? But during today's session, it does seem like price got a little bit volatile, a bit choppy around there. So let's take a look at that on the 1-hour there. So taking a look at the 1-hour, I'm going to go ahead and mark up this area instead, just because on the 1-hour, with the 4-hour combined, we can see that we do have some multiple areas of reaction. We have, as you can see, area of reaction right here where price bounced. You can see here price broke below, retested, and continued below this zone right here. So it's an overall general area that we can take a look at. Also here, minor breaks above the area, but overall really maintaining below. So it really makes, no difference to me whether you have the zone just a little bit higher, a little bit lower. We understand that overall, we could be looking out for some moves around these 2610s area over here. And then really diving a little bit deeper into this analysis here, we do have somewhat of a range that's being created. If we look closely right here, it's kind of like a range that's being created. I bet if we look at this on the lower time frames, it's going to be a lot clearer. So this does seem like a fairly choppy area that I wouldn't really be looking to take advantage of any moves. I would much rather prefer to take trades based off of this zone, or that zone right there. So we'll go back to those zones in just a minute. Let's confirm the lower time frames and see if what I was talking about is correct. And it really is. Like, we do have somewhat of indecision kind of playing out within this area. To look for trades within here, let's say some buys or sells here, you're kind of just playing around within a range, and it doesn't really make the most sense to look out for any moves there. It would be much better to be patient, wait for price to do deeper pullbacks, or just give further continuations. But before going into those trade ideas, let's now do a quick review of what has been driving price over the past couple of weeks, man, or over the past couple of days, because we did have very, very strong sell-offs on from this day, as you can see. And this is, of course, like I always tell everybody, with the fundamentals and the technicals, a lot of back and forth with a lot of traders online, claiming technicals is better, fundamentals is better. I never seem to understand why not always, just have the combination and really be in tune with the markets. Don't sell yourself short on that information. So if we look at this and we understand market fundamentals, what was it that happened last week on Tuesday, November 5th, and basically, the beginning of, Wednesday, November 6th. If we go back to those days, we understand that Trump was elected president on that day. And so when we ask ourselves, okay, but why is that important for us to even understand? Why is that important for us as traders? If we see that, okay, well, now Trump is going to be the new president of the United States of America, we have to be aware of what policies he may bring. Or is he going to try and spur some growth into the economy, or is he going to try to slow down the economy? So what we have understood from Trump and from his past, from his past election, from him being president before, we understand that Trump brings more of expansionary policies. Expansionary meaning that he is looking to grow the US economy. He is looking to add more value to the US economy. So we know that something that, if we just say those words right there, okay, looking for more growth in the US, he is looking to most likely start implementing some tariffs to other countries, right? These things right here, these can be things that are inflationary, right? These are things that might bring inflation back to the US, because again, we are most likely going to start seeing policies from Trump being more on the expansionary side. So looking for some growth in the US markets. That also, if we go to that exact moment, we can basically see overnight, basically like Tuesday night, and more so like during the pre-London hours and London hours of Wednesday, November 6th, just after he was elected president, we can go ahead and correlate that on dollar as well. Same exact date, same exact timing, Tuesday, just that night, the day of the election, you can see dollar started to turn more bullish at the same time that gold started to turn more bearish, right? Same exact date, right? This is not something that you can make up. This is literally same exact date. You can go and back test this, look this up, read articles about it. But of course, I'm here trying to simplify it for you guys. So with that in mind, that explains, okay, so that's why we have seen so much downside momentum on gold, meaning that at the moment we are more fundamentally bearish on gold, as long as this structure continues to be respected, and as long as dollar continues also to respect this current structure that it's on, that it's really just printing higher highs, higher lows continuously ever since that past week, Tuesday, November 5th there. So with that being said, and us being now more bearish fundamentally, and us also being more bearish on gold from a technical perspective, as we can clearly see, like from the daily time frames, from these all-time highs, we started to now finally get those breaks of structure. Very, very strong candle closures, very strong volume and momentum towards the downside. We can see price action also now closing below previous areas of support where we had nice bounces from. So we can clearly see that the momentum at this moment is still on the bearish side, right? So let's go ahead and zoom in here. And so with that information of, okay, us being more bearish with gold now, excuse me, guys. So with us being more bearish on gold, both fundamentally and technically at the moment, the main ideas that would pop up to my head, other than really just trying to avoid getting caught inside of this range on gold, what I would mainly do is I would prepare myself to see either just continued moves towards the downside with that momentum that we're on right now, as we can just like look at how zoomed out we are on gold, and it's still such like a massive sell-off. If we zoom in and start to get closer to the price action, it's like incredible that we have this sort of price action at the moment. So it's very, very strong price action. I wouldn't think it's nothing out of the ordinary if I saw price just continuing to break below 25.92. With candle closures back below that zone, we can see continued moves towards the downside, especially with tomorrow's CPI report. If tomorrow's CPI report, we see, for example, that inflation is rising in the US, then we are for sure going to see continued upside on moves on dollar. Well, most likely, I don't want to say for sure or anything like that. I don't want to advise people, wrong or anything. But, my opinion, I would say that if we have higher inflation readings tomorrow, we could see continued upside on dollar, which could translate to further downside on gold. Other than that, I would want to see price action. Say we don't get back to these lows and we start to do a pullback. I would want to see the pullbacks do one or two things. Either a very deep pullback up into 26, 25s, where we can look to take, higher risk sells from that area. As we can see from the past, we saw price rejecting that zone and also really trading strong with the sellers below that zone. So if we do a deeper pullback, like above this zone, for example, once we're above 26.11s, it would make sense to maybe adapt to some short-term buys, at least up into this area. We're talking about 100 plus pips of a range that price created just above this resistance, or really just look to continue selling if price is going to be failing to really trade above this zone. This is something that, for example, during today's live stream with my community, we were looking to take advantage of sells. We literally waited basically until after 10 in the morning, where price finally rejected those highs that we're talking about right now, just around this area. And after seeing price rejecting and closing bearish for us, we decided to continue looking for sells, which, as you can see, played out quite well. I myself was able to capitalize on about 50 pips, but some of the members were able to catch like 100 pips. Overall, the move played out for 150 pips. So it was a great move. If these ideas are wrong, say price action just starts to bounce off of this zone, we don't have any sort of signs of continued sells, then again, for me personally, I would at least wait for price action to get above 26.12, really give me a candle closure so I can look for a break and retest, and at least a correction up into this move. And then other than that, if we can really get back above here, I would say with a much lower inflation reading, if tomorrow we get a much lower inflation reading, then it's possible that dollar might start to do some pullbacks, and gold can also do some deeper pullbacks. Again, I would feel a lot safer taking more buys above this intraday zone here, 26.25. There, it would be a lot easier to really look out for some correction buys, correcting some of this downside move that we have, and even then we would still be very, very bearish with that price action, right? So we do have a few ideas that we can look out for. Hopefully I was clear. But as always, guys, you guys have my Instagram. You guys can always hit me up. I'm always happy to answer anybody's questions and help anybody out. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will make sure to stay consistent with these videos. I will make sure to post more content as well, talking more about fundamentals, technicals, and everything like that, to make sure I, share more knowledge with the community. So appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.